It Was a Book, the podcast that takes real-life stories and rewrites them into what would happen if it was a book. Today I had my guest, Cait Jacobs, who is a founder of Book Talk and a debut author. We talked about therapy, paranormal investigation, college, the publishing market, and the friendships that we made along the way. Cait, how would you describe the book that we wrote today?
I think today the story we wrote is about two roommates. It's a psych major and an engineering major who discover that they're not quite alone in their dorm. And they have to figure out how to help the worst possible ghost that you can deal with, a film major.
And they were roommates.
And they were roommates.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to the If It Was a Book podcast, the show that takes real-life stories and rewrites them into what would happen if it was a book. For people who love reading, writing, pop culture, and general ADHD chaos, today I am joined by Book Talk founder and debut author, Cait Jacobs. Cait, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So you are credited as a Book Talk founder. How did you get started in wanting to talk about books online?
So I have always, my entire life, been a huge reader. And when I was around in middle school, I discovered BookTube, and I eventually got into Bookstagram, and I tried my hand at both and failed horribly. I did awful. I was kind of shouting into the void. I even made a Bookish Vine account at one point. There were some really questionable posts on there, but it existed. Just really wanted to shout about the books I loved all the time. I ended up making a book blog, and that's where I kind of stayed for several years. And I was working in a library, and the kids at that library were talking to me about this new app, TikTok, and I downloaded it to understand their references and be relevant and cool in their eyes, because it's very important to me that children think I'm cool. So I downloaded it and immediately became addicted. And I noticed at the time there wasn't really a lot of bookish content, but I was already making content for my blog, so I started repurposing it for TikTok as well, thinking this would be like every other failure in my history and that no one would see it. And I was really just doing it for myself, only to be surprised when people actually saw it.
Awesome. So you are a Book Talk founder, and then you have your debut novel coming out.
Yes.
The Princess Knight comes out October 14th. What can listeners and readers look forward to in your very first book?
Yeah, so The Princess Knight is a medieval fantasy. I have been calling it to some friends lately, Cadet Kelly meets the Princess Bride. It's such a vibe. So it's just about a princess trying to win back the prince who ruined their betrothal plans, and it's a betrothal that her kingdom desperately needs. So she decides to prove herself to him by going to this elite military academy where she meets his guard and best friend, and they start training together and spending some time together and getting a little bit closer than they should probably. And while they're there, they discover some threats to both of their kingdoms, and they have to figure out what to do and how to handle it.
That sounds amazing. I love that. And so this podcast is a little bit different from regular podcasts where we actually give listeners a little peek into your writing and brainstorming style by taking a real story and rewriting it into what would happen if it was a book. Cait, do you have a story that you'd like to share with us?
So I like to keep a bunch of random lore of random things that have happened in my life or to people I know. And one of my favorite things to bring up around people is that my first ever therapist was also a part-time paranormal investigator. And I just feel like there's so many things to go. There's so many places we can go with that.
I 100% agree. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So okay, I will also drop lore here, I feel. So I skeptical on paranormal things for myself. However, I was a founding member of the Paranormal Investigators Club at my college because my friend was really into it, and you need a certain number of people in order to start a club. You have to have a board. And so I was the treasurer for the Paranormal Investigators Club for its first, I think, maybe 2 years of existing. And so I did go to meetings. I did also go out into the woods to with a meter.
That is so entertaining. I'm simultaneously jealous and so entertained because I'm also fairly skeptical, but I love the concept of ghost hunting. I'm addicted to those shows. Ever since I was a kid, I've been obsessed with all things ghosts, even though I don't know if I believe in them. So I'm so jealous that you got to do that.
One thing about me is that I will commit. I will commit to something. If you tell me we're doing something, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
That is a
I'll
true
give people
friend.
rides. It was genuinely a lot of fun. There were some on-campus things that we would go to hunt ghosts in. Several of the buildings were known to be haunted, so we'd go and see what we can find there. One of our meetings was in a cemetery, and I don't really know how we arranged that because there were chairs and stuff. It wasn't like a just show up and
It didn't
vibe kind
just
of thing. It was
appear. It was
it was like
organized.
arranged.
That is so fascinating to me. See, I also had, like, some paranormal stuff in college, but it wasn't a club. I did a writing course that was the supernatural and pop culture, and one of our assignments was we had to read a whole bunch of old stories about ghosts and whatnot, discuss the evolution of ghosts in literature, and then we had to interview people on our campus about whether or not they think our campus is haunted, and we had to go to all of these sites and, like, try to get firsthand accounts of hauntings, and there were so many. My dorm room was an old seminary where
Mhm.
there were confirmed deaths there, so we got a lot.
So I don't know how you want to go with this, but I think that we should do like a college ghost story. How do you feel?
I am so on board with that.
I
Yes.
just feel like we both have college ghost based memories. And also, like, I feel like it's common that like certain halls in colleges are haunted. So, what do we want to be haunted? Do we want it to be a like classroom building, a dorm, a lunch hall?
I feel like the dorm, me just being a nerd for horror, I feel like the dorm can have a lot more fun because that's could be where our main character is living. She can't avoid it. It's happening all the time. I also feel like regarding main character, psych major maybe?
Okay, Slay, I'm a psych major.
This is
Let's
just
go.
about you.
It's just about me. Yeah, she's also a skeptic, but joins the club just for
Yeah,
fun.
just for fun.
Okay, great. So I love this. We've got our main character. She's a psych major. She's going to college. Her dorm is haunted. How do we want our fun cast of characters to go? Do we want everyone to be a psych major on her floor, or do we want like different majors that have different ideas? Do we want a super senior? Like, how do we want to arrange our college dorm?
I think we should definitely have a few different majors because I feel like that could bring a little bit more into this little ghost hunting experience
Yeah.
and this haunting. So we have the psych major, maybe like something with history I feel like could be helpful. You always got to have someone who knows random facts. And now this is my self-insert where I was a comp sci major,
Love. Yes.
but I feel like that could be interesting from the tech side, someone involved in tech in some way.
Mm-hmm.
All the ghost hunting stuff. I'm again big fan of ghost hunting shows, and like there's so much random tech they bring out. I don't believe half
Yes.
of it, but like it could be interesting to have some of that there, and we can have a little tech person handle that.
I agree. So, do we want it to be like just computer science or computer science and engineering so they can like fully build
Ooh,
machines or just use them?
I think we'll let's lean like full engineering. I think
Okay.
that could be really fun.
Cool. Love. Okay. So, we are in a dorm. I think that I want your character. I want the engineer to live in the same room. So we're gonna be roommates.
And they were
roommates. So they're roommates. Things are going bump in the night. The dorm is haunted. How do we want to find out that the dorm is haunted? Are things moving? Are we feeling a chill? What's happening?
I think it's got to be subtle at first, and then like maybe with like things moving, but just out of the corner of the character's eyes, they're noticing
Okay.
things moving a little bit, and it slowly starts growing to a point that at first they're telling themselves, they're kind of gaslighting themselves, being like, "I just put my toothbrush over there before, anyways," or like,
Right.
I left that closet door open. Or, they're trying to explain it away, but eventually it starts growing into something they can't explain, I feel like.
It's like pretty easy to be like, oh,
Yeah.
roommate moved things.
And maybe that could also be like a source of tension between them because
Right,
they're
like,
kind of
stop
annoyed at
moving my
each other.
stuff.
Like, yeah, why
Yes.
did you threw my stuff on the floor again? Like, why don't you just respect my things? And that could be like some conflict between them before they have to realize like, oh no, there's something else here.
I totally agree. I like that a lot, especially because like it's really stressful to have a random roommate and to be like,
Mhm.
I don't know you, and now we live together for a
Yeah.
year. So I think that that is great. And then they're both like really frustrated with each other because things keep moving and they think it's the other person. I don't know how do you want them to find out that the space is haunted? Because one thing about college is someone brought a Ouija board. I don't know why they did that, but someone brought a Ouija board.
Yeah, it could be who someone definitely had to bring a Ouija board. Maybe it was like some sort of dorm event thing that was
Yeah.
going on, and someone else from like another dorm brought in a Ouija board, and maybe that could actually be what happened toward kind of at the beginning, and they might
Mhm.
have dismissed it a little bit. Again, in all of the horror movies, it's always someone playing with the Ouija board starts all the problems. You don't
Right.
follow the rules.
Mhm.
So it could be something like that, and then eventually they decide. I'm trying to figure out which character would do this of the two we have so far. One of them gets bored and decides to play with the Ouija board again and starts to actually get responses. And there's no one else around that could be messing with it.
So the dorm wasn't already haunted. We summoned a ghost or demon into
I
the
think
dorm
so.
with the
Or
Ouija
like
board.
strengthened it somehow. They did something.
Okay,
Maybe like the dorm had like a baseline haunt level.
we increased the dorm haunting.
Yeah. You opened a door and now the ghosts are angry. Or
Mhm.
ghost. I don't know how many there are yet.
Are they angry or have they like kind of given up on being able to communicate with the world, and then the Ouija board is introduced and they're able to communicate, and now they're like, okay, we can get on my unfinished business. Let's go.
Yeah, now they have been desperate to be heard, and now they finally can be, and they're like, I have a list of things to do. Like, and I need someone to help me out with this. Like, you have free time. You're a psych major, and then the psych major is like, what are you talking about? And maybe there's a fight between the engineering and the
No,
psych
you have
major
a lot of
about
free
that.
time as a psych major. I had a lot of time.
I'm just imagining this ghost is just really like, I'm thinking about all of the most like patronizing people that I met that like look down at people because of their degrees. I'm imagining this ghost is just kind of the worst.
Okay, so what do you want the ghost to have majored in, assuming that they went to this college before?
In my brain, I'm just like, what's the worst degree? And I immediately thought business.
Business, or like he could be a film bro. I've decided it's a dude. The ghost is a dude.
Same. Well, again, we described the worst, so
Yeah.
unfortunately has to be. No, a film bro would be awful, but would he? No, he'd be able
Yeah,
to
how
get a
old is the
superiority.
ghost for it to
Because I
be
was
a film
also
bro?
thinking too, like, how much of a superiority complex will this ghost have? But I think a film bro, you can get a huge superiority complex still with that. So he could be fairly recently dead, but
Okay.
not like too recent. Like, I'm thinking like maybe we can be talking like 10, 20 years. I imagine there would still be film bros, but they're earlier.
I like
Earlier phase
that.
of film bros, not the modern film bro.
Have you seen Being Human, the UK version?
I
And the US
haven't.
version? Actually, there's two. I think the US version is better, actually, which is surprising because I usually prefer the UK version. So, Being Human, this girl, spoilers for Being Human, this girl is recently dead. Her fiance has murdered her. And so she is stuck in this house because that's where she died. And throughout the show, she starts to learn how to use her ghostly powers.
Hmm.
So if we wanted it to be like a more recent death, then it could be that like he didn't know how to communicate with other people. He'd never tried or wasn't able. And then through the Ouija board, he starts to learn how to use his ghost powers. And so then he's able to like knock stuff down and like write on mirrors and do all the things
Hmm.
that he didn't know he had the ability to do because he'd never attempted or known how to do things until the Ouija board is introduced.
I also just had a really stupid idea. I love that so much, and I'm thinking, just had the idea if he's a film bro and he's now like learning that he can communicate. What if he's like a film bro who always really liked horror? And he's admittedly
Oh,
leaning into some of the cliches with the stuff he does.
wait, yeah.
You just mentioning writing on mirrors, and I'm just picturing he's like trying to recreate one of his favorite scenes.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Wait, and what
I
if
like this.
what if his unfinished business is a film that he was working on?
He has to finish his short film?
He has to finish his short film because he thinks it can go far.
Okay, yeah, it's going to Sundance, obviously.
Yeah, and like they look at the script and it's a mess.
Yes, okay, I love this. Yes, genuinely love this. Also, fun little creative pursuit on your off time to make a film. I think that the film will go far because of the incredible special effects of an actual ghost doing stuff. And they're like,
Yeah.
whoa, how did you? And they're like, we're just really talented.
And of course, they're also going to have the engineering student who can help with any physical things that they might need. And then they're going to have the psych student who will really get into like psychological horror and the character development and the growth. And maybe also partially like help the dead film bro get over his superiority complex.
And move on.
Just move on. Just be like, this like film, like it's not the end of the world. Like it's gonna be okay if this doesn't get finished. We're gonna work on it, but like maybe separate yourself from your creative pursuits a little bit and recognize that you had a life outside of it.
Dang, this poor kid. He just really wants his film to succeed.
He just cares about it too much.
I think that we should definitely do some of the like the scenes that he'll like start making the scenes happen, and then they'll start recording it after a while, and it'll be very Paranormal Activity, with, like,
Mhm.
having cameras in your home, which is freaky. But that's how they can catch the video stuff. So, let's see. I'm gonna say so there's a lot of tension. I'm remembering now our beginning where the roommates are fighting. Can we name the roommates? I need I need
Yeah, we
to
should
write to
probably
different
do.
people.
God, so this is where I'm at my worst with writing, is that I can never come up with names.
Okay.
I always just use, like, random name generators as a placeholder and then dive into research for hours later.
We'll open a book. Okay.
Wait,
I've got Vernie, Linden, Juniper,
Lyndon
Zephyrite.
sounds like a good film bro.
Okay.
Uh,
Bryson,
uh,
Kai, Hadrang,
let's go
uh,
with I'm also looking at books
John
around
Doe,
me, but I only have fantasy books around me right now, so
Darrow, Forrest.
well, we already named the film bro. But, yeah, I'm only looking at fantasy books now.
Okay.
Doreen.
Wait, okay. No, yes, I think Doreen is good, but for a second I was like, they could be Noreen and Doreen from Hairspray. That would get a little confusing. But you know that part where they're like, Noreen, Doreen, and
Yeah.
I'm Link.
Noreen! Doreen!
And I'm Link.
So, okay, we'll have one of them be Doreen.
I think Doreen sounds like a psych major.
Doreen's a psych major. And then for the engineer, I am staring at shelves, seeing if anything will come up to me. Let's go with
I see you've reached Sam behind you. Should be Sam.
Sam. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. So we've got Sam, computers, Doreen, brains, and then what was our film bro? I forgot his name already.
Same. It was like Lynn.
It can be Lyndon. Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's go with that. Something.
How about
something Lynn.
Landon? I feel like that's a little bit
Landon.
easier.
Yeah, Landon.
So I'm gonna say that our computer person, Sam, sets up a webcam in the room, but like told not just like filming the room without anybody knowing. Tells Doreen and is like, hey, I'm setting up this camera because I have all of this expensive equipment and stuff's been moving. Stop moving my stuff. And just like letting you know, change in the bathrooms for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doreen's gonna be like, I literally have not touched your stuff. And Sam's gonna be like, we'll see. Camera, which is super invasive, and don't do that if you live in a dorm, by the way. But for the purposes of this,
Sam is not a role model.
Sam is not a role model, don't do that. Oh, they're both saying that people are moving stuff. Maybe they agree together to set up the camera and be like,
Yeah.
"Where's Gray?" Like, I don't
They're
know.
both. Yeah, they're both trying to prove that the other one is lying.
Yeah.
So it works out.
All consent is there. We're not filming people in their bedrooms without them knowing.
No.
So that has happened. And stuff's going to keep moving, and they're going to see it on the cameras and be like, whoa, it's a ghost. And then I think that footage is going to make its way into the final film cut,
Mm-hmm.
just like as part of the like paranormal horror that he wanted to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason that I think the cameras even need to be there, is so that we can then put it in the film.
Yeah.
And that's like part of the reason that it gets really big, is that they're like, whoa, crazy special effects.
Like, how'd they do that?
It's a real ghost.
But yeah, no, I think that is great. And then so that's how they can like record as like the stuff gets more, when they see like the moving, that will be a moment where they can be like, oh, this is actually happening. And then as it gets even more, where he gets even vocal is not necessarily the word, more noticeable with like writing on the fobbed up mirror or something like that, we can see, the camera will see that happening.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Trying to think
Sorry, I'm
what-
just thinking about like the logistics of putting a camera in the bathroom, and I'm like, I don't really like that. But there's a camera in the bedroom that gets foggy for some reason.
It could be the camera is just angled in a way that when the bathroom door is open, you can see the sink in the mirror, but not the rest of the bathroom.
That it could also do with like, I don't know where we're set, but it could be like a frosty window situation, and there's
Ooh,
like writing on the
true.
frosty window.
Yeah.
In any case, there's noticing more and more that there's something going bump in the night.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to probably, I guess, through bringing back the Ouija board, talk to Landon and figure out what he wants from them. And he's getting better and better at his ghost skills, so maybe he can like enter dreams or do something funky to like tell them, please finish my short video, please. SOS.
Yeah, no, they'll like, maybe they'll try the Ouija board. Maybe they'll hear from him and they'll try to be like, okay, we actually have a ghost on our hands. And they start looking into like the cliche, like tech stuff that they use on the shows. They get like a spirit box.
Ooh.
And the spirit box, they just hear his voice being like, finish my short film.
Yes.
And they can just have that with them when they're recording certain things, and he'll sometimes just, like, chime in with different advice of being like, no, don't use that lens.
What's the little swirl thing? It's like, remember the swirl. Remember the rule of thirds.
No, this needs to be a Dutch angle.
I like that. I think that's fun. And I think it's fun that he can, like, say weird stuff in the middle. Because I think that, like, he is a main character, but I think he's also kind of a side character. Where
Yeah.
our two roommates are the main characters. And then every now and then we get some, like, comedic relief of Landon just saying stuff.
Just, like, randomly, like, sharing his thoughts. Maybe, like, sometimes they'll forget the spirit box is on and, like, they're having, like, the main characters are having, like, a big moment for their, I don't know, whatever their relationship arc is going to be in it. And, like, they forgot the spirit box is on and Landon just chimes in with something. Or maybe he, like, starts a fight or tries to end an argument between them. He's just meddling.
Yeah, Landon's just stirring the pot. Landon is
Yeah.
just saying stuff for fun. He's like, I'm so bored. Drama.
He lives for the drama. It's why he was a film major.
So true. Love that for Landon. What a goof. So how are we going to wrap up the film that then he feels maybe I feel like, especially because you wanted us to do some like brain stuff, some therapy with our psych major for Landon to move on, that like maybe your unfinished business isn't actually the short film. I know that that's what you want to finish, but like maybe it's something else. So what's the real unfinished business that Landon needs to get over in order to move on? Because maybe they finish the film and he's just still there and they're like,
Yeah. No, I think he maybe partially needs to, he needs to cope with the fact that he's dead and that all of those hopes and dreams he had will never come true. He was able to make this one thing happen with the film, but there was still so much in life that he never got to experience because he was a student. He died young. So he needs to kind of grieve his own life, maybe, as well as also recognize that he threw himself so far into his work that maybe he didn't really have many friends. He didn't have a lot of connections. And that's another thing that he was grieving. Like, he maybe had plans for himself. He wanted to have good friends. He wanted to get married someday. He wanted to do all these things that will now never happen. And he needs to let that go. But maybe he can find friendship in the two roommates and realize that there was more to life outside of his creative pursuits.
yeah. I was also thinking while we were talking that potentially, I know we were gonna say that it was like 20 years ago. I don't actually remember when YouTube came out. So somewhere in there.
2005-ish, somewhere in like, but like
Okay.
it didn't get popular until like 2010, like 2008.
So I'll
2010.
bring us back to 15 years ago he died.
Okay.
Around 2010 he died. And I'm going to say that, and we don't have to do it this way, but one of the things that was really important to him was that he really make a name for himself, which he wasn't able to do because he passed away so early. But he was posting some of his other short films on YouTube. And I'm going to say at one point near the end that in the common room of the dorm, they walk out and someone's watching one of his older videos, and it's like a cult classic video. It's like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. It's like a random cult classic video that's like very niche, but that has a lot of interaction and didn't get it quite when it was starting. So he didn't know about it, and he's a ghost, so he can't look up his own YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
then he realizes that his work was still impactful to other people, even though it wasn't this big work that his like culmination work that he was working on. I'm going to say that his short video, what's it called?
The short film.
Short film, thank you. I'm going to say his short film was like his senior thesis. It was like his big, after all I've learned, we have this. And so that's why he was like, I have to finish it. Like this is the culmination of all that I've done. But these little videos that he made along the way of his journey through the school were still like very impactful to the horror short film community.
Yeah, and maybe like it could also be a thing where with his short film, he put a lot of weight into that because it was like his senior thesis. It was the culmination of everything, but also maybe compared to the YouTube videos, it was a higher production quality, or like it was something that he thought would be more well respected, either based on the format or genre that he would be doing. And the little stuff he put on YouTube was just for fun and for himself and just a little fun way of expressing his creativity. And he never put much weight into that. And that can kind of be because a lot of times with characters, you'll have like what they want, and they have to learn that what they want isn't what they need. And he so desperately wanted maybe to impact people through prestigious means, through like something that would be universally well respected. And then he has to realize that no, those small things that he did still have an impact now. It's not necessarily about the big budget. It's not about the hours you pour into it, but just about the love that goes into it.
I dig it. I think that's really good. Also said something about that he didn't make a lot of friends, and maybe he'll see the like comments or something, that he's able to see the community that was built through his work, even though he didn't have a lot of community at school. That like he did make community, and he did
That
impact people.
Maybe in life he was isolated, but with his death, maybe also with his death, he brought communities of people together. Like maybe there's like a little like, you know, like you were saying, like just a cult classic, like maybe there's like a little niche fandom and people have become friends through it. And he's helped other people who felt isolated like him, and now they have their own community. So while it wasn't something he got to experience while he was alive, he's helped other people.
The real short film was the friends we made along the way.
This was just a comedic relief character.
You know, I do remember when he was just a comedic relief character. That was 10 minutes ago. So much has changed. I think that's great. Do we want to wrap anything up with Doreen or Sam?
I think they need their own little arc to go on as well. And I feel like he became kind of like our main focus and like the emotional journey accidentally, but I don't want to leave them behind. I vote a subtle like enemies to lovers romance just going on in the background.
When you were saying that, what's his name? Landon was gonna like say snarky things, I was like, when they're fighting, he's gonna be like, kiss.
Literally, no, that's exactly what I was imagining too. Yeah, so I think that will be their little unfortunate subplot now. Landon has taken over. But their plot, I think, would be a little enemies to lovers romance as they are dealing with this insufferable film bro and trying to help him deal with everything. They maybe have their own stuff on the side, and they will go from hating each other to eventually like agreeing to work together, get rid of this ghost that's their mutual problem. And then naturally falling in love and being a part of that community that Landon affected as well. And part of his impact. I hate giving credit to the straight man for the Sapphits getting together.
And I also think that if we wanted to give them a little bit more throughout the story, we could have that his short film does include a romance between two characters, and so they are playing these characters that are falling in love or already in love and like have conflict. I don't know what his short film's about, except that it's scary. So in his short film, they are dating. And so they're playing these characters that are dating. And we have a larger cast of characters that are like helping them film and audio and all that. And they keep having these like very tension moments of like, oh my God, because they're playing this part and then they're like falling in love with each other. Very theater.
Yep. We're gonna have a stage romance here.
Yeah. But I think that could be one of the times when he says like weird stuff where they're like having this tension-filled stare-off, and then Landon ruins the take going, "Now kiss!" Because he's been giving like, what is it, direction the whole time, being like, this is my short film and this is how I want it to be done.
I can also see like, so during the moments when they're actually filming and they're dealing with the chemistry and stuff, he'll be giving direction, having the moment be like, now kiss. But then also sometimes they're just throughout their life. And like if the spirit box is on and around, because maybe they'll just leave it on sometimes so he can feel heard, you know, part of his therapy journey. And during that, he can maybe start directing them a little bit in their real lives, a little bit of just like, you know, showing
now
just like,
say sorry. Now
apologize. Mean it. Give it once more with feeling. Come on.
That's great. I love that. See, he's back to being a comedic relief character.
Yeah, we got him back for his original purpose eventually.
Love.
Sam and Doreen feel like we haven't given them much personality and existence besides their majors.
Give them more. Tell me more.
Like, I feel like we need to flesh them out. We got to pass the Bechtel test.
Yes.
I think just to, like, add some more personality to them, I feel like we should just, like, since we know who Landon is, we should know who Sam and Doreen are in terms of how do they act? What are they like? I can see Doreen's a psych major. I already got their names confused. Sam is woman in STEM. Maybe she's kind of, you know, she's had to deal with insufferable men all the time, so maybe she's a little bit more cold, a little bit more bristly, like prickly. She's a little bit more of a prickly person.
She's prickly.
And meanwhile, maybe Doreen, for some reason, my brain, I just imagine Doreen exhausted. Like, she's just kind of exhausted. She's dealing with a lot. I feel like also with Doreen, everyone's constantly making her mediate their friendships and solve their problems. You know, she's kind of like the therapist to all of her friends. And admittedly, she puts herself in that position again
Yeah, part
with
of it is
Landon.
that she, like, cannot leave it alone, but
Yeah. And maybe that's the thing too, where like she didn't kind of have a journey of realization of like, it's a little bit her fault, where she does seek it out a bit, but that's why she's going down this career path, and she just has to learn to have boundaries, maybe, and to respect them. And then I think also, I think Landon needs to learn to respect boundaries. And I think maybe Sam has too many boundaries.
okay, we gotta break down some walls.
Yeah, so Doreen has no boundaries, Sam has too many, and Landon ignores all of them. And that could kind of be the dynamic between the three of them. I feel a little bit better now that we know.
I think that, like, acting will really help that with Sam. That
Yeah.
it'll sort of bring her out of her shell, is like trying on these different hats and seeing sort of what it's like to be in someone else's shoes, and then being like, oh, okay, maybe it's not so scary to, like, let people in.
Yeah, and maybe with Sam, like, a lot of times in, like, the comp sci field and in the engineering field, it's very competitive, and a lot of times there can be, like, this thing of, like, every man for himself.
Right.
And Sam could have been very used to that. Like, she always knew that she wanted to be an engineer. This was the path she always wanted to go down, and she was always prepared to put in the work, and she didn't need anyone else. But then when she starts acting a little bit, she learns what it's like to work with others, to be in this kind of community setting, and to see the things that people can create together. And then also how to be vulnerable with herself and with others, because that's what she has to be with Landon constantly yelling at her. Like, maybe she's just, like, really struggling with the acting part at first, because she's just not open at all. And between Doreen and Landon, Landon's directing and Doreen being like, listen, you gotta, like, you need to be a little bit vulnerable for this. That's how they can kind of break down those walls a bit, and then how their relationship can develop.
I like that a lot. I think
I
that
think
that's
that could be
really
fun.
good. Yeah. And I think that could also tie in, like, some more characters, and, like, maybe we have some people who are theater majors. Maybe we have some
Yeah.
people who are, like, other kinds of majors that have different skill sets that they're bringing to this short film and to the community of people all working together at the short film.
Yeah. Like, we can have a theater major, we can have an English major who helps out with the script.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. And then history major, like we mentioned before, that can be the person who helped them also figure out what happened to Landon, like, you know, how he died and who's exactly haunting them. But they can also come in and, you know, assist with the script and, like, make it a little bit more grounded and stuff or whatever. And it's kind of like how this community of people with all different backgrounds, all different interests, and create a really moving piece of art.
Yeah. And I think that it will do well. I think that that short film does, like, go on
Yeah.
to be a very successful short film.
It definitely does. And I think, and then that's when it'll go out, you know, it'll make it to Sundance. It'll do it. I'm like, in my brain, I was like, Sundance does short films, right?
So
I hope it does now.
we know so much about film.
We're great with coming up with the story. This is clearly our area of expertise. But yeah, so like it makes it Sundance, and then it's after all of that success that they have that like moment of like, he's still here. What does he want? And it can also be during that we have the big moment of Doreen and Sam getting together, and everything seems to be going great, but he's still here. And then that's when they have to realize it was the smaller projects that had that huge impact, and that those communities he fostered to make up for the one community he lacked when he was alive. And eventually then he will cross over? Pass
Yeah.
on? I don't know. Whatever the wording is.
I think those are both fine.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I like it too. I think it's fun. I really enjoy this Paranormal Investigators short film book that we've written.
I love it so much. It's also so funny because my current work in progress deals with hauntings and ghosts right now. So, like, I didn't plan that. So I'm just like, this is great. I love that I'm getting to use some of the stuff that I've been that I've been really just having fun with and calling research.
Yeah.
For this as well.
Maybe you'll watch a short film and it'll be one that you can slide into this book here.
There we go. Yeah.
Is there
Love
anything
it.
else that you want to add to our story?
I feel like we got it. I think.
Glad that we fleshed out all of the characters more. I
Yeah.
like that
I'm also, like, I'm the type of person with stories where whenever it comes to me working them out, I will always, like, I love to leave room to explore later on. So, if this was a book that I would be writing, like, I would this is, like, the exact level of outlining I would normally go in with.
So I like to end all of my episodes by getting a few book recs. The first question is the hardest. So what is your favorite book or series of all time?
So, this is the hardest, but I have had this answer prepped for forever because it's 2. That if you made me pick one, then I would immediately leave this call and not answer you. But 2, Sits of Crows by Leigh Bardugo and We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. They are both the loves of my life.
Excellent choices. And then what was the last book that you rated 5 stars? Or if you don't rate, what was the last book that you read that you cannot stop thinking about?
Ooh, okay. There's so many. I won't lie. I've been on a fanfiction kick lately.
Yeah.
The wicked hyperfixation is hitting so hard. But outside of fanfiction, I recently read We've Hit Turbulence by Jessica L. Cozy. Jess, if you may know, and then anyone who has possibly requested an Arc of the Princess might know, she's also my publicist, and also my friend of many, many years. But her book is a YA contemporary. It's a second chance romance, and I haven't read YA contemporary in so long, and it just reminded me why I loved it. It's all about a girl who is flying to visit her long-distance boyfriend who she thinks is cheating on her. And on the flight, it's an 11-hour flight, she ends up seated next to the ex she never got over, and she broke his heart. And they're stuck together on an 11-hour flight. And let me tell you, this boy is so pathetic and, like, peak yearning. I love him so much. He's just a sad puppy. So it comes out in January, so everyone needs to read it if you want. Like, you don't even get his point of view, but just the yearning just, like, radiates from him.
I love anyone described as pathetic.
It's my favorite type of fictional character.
And then, actually, I'll share my last 5-star,
Yes.
which was Okoike Emeze's new book coming out in November, Son of the Morning. This one is a paranormal romance between our main character, Gali, knows that she's different from her family, but she comes from a family of demon hunters. But she knows that she's different from them. She doesn't know how. She doesn't know why. She just knows that her family's keeping secrets from her. While out at a gala with her friend, she runs into the security guard, who is legitimately Lucifer. Like, he is actually the devil.
Love that.
And they fall in love.
Oh yeah. Literally hell yeah.
Hell yeah. No, it's so, so good. And there's also, like, a lot of stuff is going on as well. Like, demons are trying to break out of hell and they have to keep them contained. There are different princes of hell that are also involved and there's stuff going on. It's a really, really good book. I cannot describe the chaos that happens in this book.
That sounds amazing, and I need to read that right now.
It's so, so, so good. It comes out in November, but I'm sure that they will give you an early copy if you say, please.
I'm just gonna beg.
That's
I'm
what
not
I
above
do.
begging.
Say,
I
"Please."
beg all the time for my favorite books. I don't have dignity. It doesn't matter to me.
But if it makes you feel better, I was also rejected from the ARC from NetGalley. But I have a physical, but like they wouldn't. NetGalley hates me. It's fine.
NetGalley is out to get you. That is unfair.
Literally, the only ones that I get approved for are the ones that I am auto-approved for. Like, Dreamscapes has me on their auto-approved list, and, like, no one else.
I recently got auto-approved by my own publisher, and I 100% plan on abusing this now. It's going to be great.
And then my next question is, who are your writing inspirations?
There are honestly so many. And it's also like a thing, too, where there are so many people that I look up to in the industry who just, their craft and writing is so good, but it's also like a thing of, like, if I feel like if I speak their name, like, they're just too incredible, like, too untouchable, and I don't even want to compare. Like I mentioned, my favorite books are Sits of Crows and We Hunt the Flame. So obviously, Leigh Bardugo and Hafsa Faisal, I absolutely adore with every fiber of my being, and their writing is something that I always aspire to. I would also say, like, Holly Black. I love the way that Holly Black writes. And huge fan. Whenever I need to motivate myself, to remind myself, like, all of the things that I would love to do in writing, I'll, like, pick up a Holly Black book and be like, oh yeah, like, this is amazing. And I'll never be on this level, but I can keep trying and I just need to keep working. It's what motivates me to, like, get back to work, to just, like, try to be anywhere near as amazing. But there's so many authors, honestly. I'm, like, staring back at my shelf because there's a million people I miss. Like, Ava Reed, Rebecca Ross, Camilla Cole, like, Tahara Mafi. There's so many authors I look up to, honestly.
And what is the book that you are most looking forward to coming out in the next year or so?
Okay, so speaking of Camilla Cole, she has another book coming out, which is An Arcane Inheritance. Dark Academia. I will read anything Camilla writes. I am her number one fan. She knows this, I told her this, but I am so excited. I believe it's her adult debut. I'm so excited for that book. I also feel like we're being blessed with titles that have arcane in it because Sydney J. Shields has an Arcane Study of Stars coming out next year. So more Dark Academia with a gorgeous cover and arcane in the title. And again, just authors that I will read everything they write all the time. And I am dying for those books.
So you are a debut author. Do you have any advice for aspiring authors? And if not, what was the best advice someone gave to you?
I think probably the advice I would give to aspiring authors is to write what you love and to always keep writing, no matter how much rejection or how little you believe in yourself actually making it. I never thought that this would happen. In fact, if you ask any of my friends or family, I told them many times that this would never happen. Literally to the point of when I got the offer from my editor for this book, I still told my family, I'm just like, don't hold your breath. Like, this can all still go wrong. So anyways, have healthy expectations, but still never give up because you never know what can happen. So much of publishing is luck and timing. You can have the most perfectly written book, but because of luck and timing, the market isn't ready for it. And that's not a sign to give up. And I feel like it can be very disheartening. So my biggest advice is to just always keep writing, always keep working on your craft. Even if you're dealing with a lot of rejection and you're not where you want to be, it's just so important to keep working towards it. And then my other piece of advice is don't chase the market. Never worry too much about what's sellable. I think it's important to keep in mind, some things will be harder to sell than other things, but don't try to write a romantasy because romantasy is big right now. Because give it 2 years, 3 years, or however long, and that's probably how long it would take for your book if you were to sell it right now to go out into the world. Romantasy may not be the most popular thing. Probably won't be. People will have moved on to something else. So write whatever you are most excited for and whatever you are most passionate about, and just trust that eventually, it may be a while, but eventually the audience will be there for it. When I wrote The Princess Knight, lady knights weren't very popular. There wasn't a lot happening with medieval fantasy. But somehow the timing is so perfect and people want that right now. I got very lucky. But that was definitely not the case when I started it in 2018. So just write whatever you feel like writing. And then maybe one day your book will help shape the market.
It's always a great time for lady knights.
It always is.
If Tamora Pierce has taught me anything, it's that there's always a market for lady knights.
Exactly. That's what I think, at least.
Cait's new book, The Princess Knight, is coming out on October 14th. Pre-orders are open now. You can get it at bookshop.org.
Depending on when you pre-order it, you could possibly get a signed copy from the Ripped Bodice, depending on when you order it. Also, there's a special edition Litjoy special edition for sale as well if you want the fancy sprayed edges.
Where can they get the special edition?
So that is from Litjoy. So if you go on their website, as of us filming this, it's not sold out, but that might change. It ships in January though, so be aware, but it's really pretty.
All right, that was If It Was a Book. If you liked what you heard, feel free to drop us a rating or a review and tell us what you liked or what you want to see in future episodes. If you would like to submit a story for the chance to have it rewritten by one of our guests, you can do so by emailing your memory to ifitwasabook@gmail.com. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at If It Was a Book. You can follow me, the host, at Wicked Reads on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and more. And then, Cait, where can readers find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on pretty much any social media platform at Cait's Books, and that's CAITS Books. I'm mostly on TikTok and Instagram. I try to be on Threads, but it scares me. But you should theoretically find me there. Also on Tumblr. I've been on Tumblr more.
We love the Tumblr resurgence.
Yeah, so here for it.
We have new episodes out every Monday. As always, video episodes are available on YouTube, and audio is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening. Bye.